morning, YouTube. Today I'm bringing you the tie-breaking match. Me and Bowser, and told him that I was going to be modifying my team because I honestly did not like how the Gliscor was able to defeat Tyranitar, so I took off Rock Slide and gave it Ice Beam instead. Basically, as you can see, he's using the same team that he used in video 1, so I guess I'll be skipping the team preview, so let's get on to the battle. As you all know, I always start off with Hippowdon for safety reasons. He's going to start off with his Ferrothorn, which I'm not worried about. I know he's going to either switch or put up Stealth Rocks or Spikes, so I'm just going to go for Stealth Rocks of my own. Here I'm thinking he may go for Leech Seed or he's going to switch, so I just play the safe play and go for Magnezone, hoping to Magnet pull him and finish him off. Now he does go for the Leech Seed here, so normally I'd substitute, but this time I'm not going to substitute since Leech Seed plus substitute is going to really hurt me. And I know that Hidden Power Fire will be able to take out his Ferrothorn even after Leech Seed recovery, so I'd rather just get Ferrothorn out of the way. That way it doesn't put up, 2 or 3 spikes. So he gets a little bit recovery, but Hidden Power Fire is going to easily be able to take him out, so I'm glad about that since this team is somewhat weak to spikes and toxic spikes. So now he's going to send in Salamence, and I don't want Magnezone to get hit by Earthquake or Fire Blast, so I'm just going to send in Hippowdon, who can take either of the 2 attacks with ease. So he goes for the Dragon Dance. I thought he would go straight for the Outrage or an Earthquake, but here I'm going to attempt to hit him with the Ice Fang, which he happens to remember after a couple of moments of thinking, so he sends in his Porygon 2, who will easily be able to wall this. So I'm thinking he's going for the Ice Beam like he did last time, so I'm just going to send Magnezone back in, knowing that if he goes for Thunder Wave, Ice Beam, or Thunderbolt, it really doesn't even matter. I can take all of them and set up a substitute, knowing that he's most likely just going to Thunder Wave me like he did last match. Or no, first match. So put up a sub, and I'm going to go ahead and Thunder Wave just in case he decides to switch, but he decides to go for the recover, which was a wise move on his part. So here I'm actually thinking that he's going to switch again. Why keep Porygon in? It really can't do much. But instead, he decides to stay in and go for the attack, so here I go for the Thunder Wave yet again, thinking that he would switch because Porygon's not going to win. I can possibly just stall him out with Substitute for a long period of time, but now he decides to withdraw, and I'm actually glad that I didn't go for the Thunder Wave here because his Salamence has Lumberry, so yeah, it wouldn't even matter. I would have had to switch out regardless, and from this point, from where Salamence's health is, there's really no point to even status it, so I know that he's going to stay in this time and just try and get some use out of Salamence, because if he switches out and switches back in, Salamence is finished, so he goes for the Outrage. And now this really just comes down to minimum and maximum damage, but fortunately he does get, close to the minimum damage, so I'm able to slack off and get about half health back plus the leftovers, so about 56% health. Here he's just going to go for the Outrage again because he has no choice. I'm feeling pretty good about this situation, so I'm just going to slack off yet again, hoping that he'll stay until the Sandstorm can just finish off the Salamence. There's no point of me to attack or anything. So here he goes for the Fire Blast, which I knew that he did have, but that barely did anything thanks to Special Bulk, but fortunately for him he does get the burn, so I guess at least, my Hippowdon really can't hurt anything on his team now. I already know from this point he's going to send in his Gengar, because I'm pretty sure he's the substitute version and Ice Fang won't do enough. Now I was wondering if he was leftovers, a Black Sludge Life Orb or Disable, but as you can see here, he does go for the Disable, so I was thinking, alright, I didn't want to overpredict, and it doesn't really matter that I wasted a turn using Ice Fang, because basically, I see that he does not have Black Sledger left over, so I'm going to just stall him out, attempt to stall him out by repeatedly slacking off. So this part is slightly boring, I suppose you can say, but I really don't want to switch anything into Gengar since my only special walls really are Virizion and Latias, and they can't really take hits too well from Gengar anyway. So I'm just going to slack off again, and I was kind of wondering what item that he had, since he doesn't have the Life Orb. I was thinking Life Orb perhaps, but maybe I'll ask him when I battle him again or chat with him again. So here I was thinking, he may try and random switch at some point. I'm like, he really could. I don't think he wants his Gengar to faint just yet. And since my Ice Fang was disabled, I knew that he was going to disable my slack off. So here I just go for the Ice Fang to break his sub. Finally get rid of this annoying sub, and Sandstorm takes him low enough to where he cannot sub again. So I feel really good about that. Here he does make a good play and he saves the Gengar, knowing that he can make use of it to outspeed my Virizion, Latias, and Tyranitar. So that was very good play on his part, and I know that I won't be able to do much to him, his Porygon 2, with my burn to Powdon, so I just send in Magnezone. It's the best thing that I have to counter this thing, and we're both paralyzed, so it's alright. Now, at this turn, I really wish that I went for the Thunder Wave instead of the Substitute, because I could have paralyzed this scarfed, threatening Terrakion, and I would have been fine, but I get the Parahax this turn, so I'm just going to let the Magnezone faint. So I can safely switch Latias in. So after Magnezone faints, I'm going to send in Latias, knowing that it's going to force him to switch. But the question is, what is he switching into? I don't think that he wants to send in Porygon 2, because after the residual damage from Stealth Rock and Sandstorm, Psyshock is either going to be a 1-hit or 2-hit KO, and he still kind of needs Gengar to possibly outspeed the Latias, the Virizion, and Focus Blast the Tyranitar. But I do know that he still has Ditto remaining, and I know that he expects the Psyshock or the Surf, so I go for the Draco Meteor. And I'm so glad that I took a few seconds to think about this, because even if he stayed in with the Terrakion, it really wouldn't have mattered. Because now this Ditto can finally faint, and I really don't have to worry about it being scarfed, threatening everything that it imposes on to switch out, possibly bringing this game back with its partner, this scarfed Terrakion. So Ditto is easily going to get destroyed by the Draco Meteor, and Bowser Browsers at this point happened to send me a message saying, that really upset me, but that was still a sick prediction, so I have to give you your props. So what I recommend that Ditto does from this point on is goes on to YouTube and just really studies the ultimate shape-shifting master of all time, because he could really learn from the ultimate shape-shifting master of all time.
Where is everybody?
So with that being said and done, he's basically forced to send Terrakion back in, since with Draco Meteor plus Life Orb, Porygon 2 will still get 1-hit KO'd after residual damage, so I pretty much don't need this Hippowdon anymore, so I'm going to take the X-Scissor or Close Combat or whatever he's trying to do. But he decides to withdraw, which is a good play on his part. I know that he was going to send in Porygon 2, so I was like, well, since I don't need this Hippowdon anymore, just stay in and try and go for, I guess, just Ice Fangs and Earthquakes. Kind of just want the Hippowdon to faint. I already know that he's going to recover. He's trying to keep this thing alive to possibly defeat Virizion, since without a Swords Dance or Life Orb, Virizion's probably only going to do about probably 50% to this thing. It's like extremely bulky with Evilite, so he's basically just recover stalling like I was slack off stalling, is waiting for the burn to finish me off, so it's going to finish me off next turn. But it's okay though. I decided to go for the slack off. I'm not really sure why. It was pretty pointless because Hippowdon needs to faint. But the ice beam is going to take me low enough to where the burn will be able to take out Hippowdon. So now I'm going to send in the Tyranitar to try and punch as many holes in his team's late game sweep him with Dragon Dance, knowing that he's probably going to send in that Gengar or the Terrakion. So he just decides to send in his Gengar as death fodder. And here I'm going to go for the Fire Punch just in case he tried to send in Terrakion to get a crunch boost, which would have definitely been game over. So here he sends in the Terrakion. I know that he's going to go for the X-Scissor, thinking Latias is coming in, so I just go for the Fire Punch to get some damage off and hoping for that possible burn like his Salamence got with the Fire Blast, but I don't. So knowing that he's Choice Scarf locked into the X-Scissor, I'm going to go ahead and send in Junkazama, knowing that he's going to switch into his Porygon 2. This is the perfect time to go for a substitute and try and finish him off. So actually, no, I go for the close combat. Okay, I go for the close combat. My mistake, my mistake. Special defense drops, all that stuff. Residual damage. Here, I'm going to go for the substitute. Once again, I'm relying on the Parahax to do my bidding for me. So he does not get the Parahax. He's going to break the sub. Like either way it goes, Terrakion's going to be able to one-hit KO my Virizion after the defense drop, and I really don't want to switch anything in because if I predict wrong then it's game over. So I go for the sub again, which he predicts. He's just going to keep ice beaming because he really has no choice. And here, this is the very critical moment. I go for the sub. I had to grab my cell phone calculator to make sure that I would survive just in case he got Parahax, because as you see, the Sandstorm takes me to 1 HP. So this is going to be a good game because he really can't do anything from this point, and I'm going to easily be able to close combat him. So I hope you all enjoyed this short best of 3 series. I may do more in the future. Good game, Bowser Browses. This is UnhappyCarousel signing out. Please have a nice day. And please feel free to comment, rate, and subscribe. I truly appreciate your time. Thanks.